Are we live? Yeah! Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live stream. Everybody coming in the chat. Everybody coming in the chat. Everybody hot. Everybody doing good. Everybody doing good. If anybody in the chat, they can hear me say vegan fish, vegan fish, vegan fish, vegan fish. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So how's it going? How's it going? So 3 days later, it's going to be my court date. Uh yeah, it's unlikely that it will happen, but like I'm kind of mildly concerned that okay, they might like pull off some shit and they like okay, might suddenly just like say that okay, I violated my bail condition for some reason and then okay, send me back to prison during that time. So mildly concerned about that. Though I think that okay, if that uh is going to happen, they would probably have warned me like throughout the week or whatever. But since they didn't do that, very likely I'll just go there, go to court, and then they'll like ask for, there'll be like an extension, and then I'll wait like a few months before I get my sentence. So, um, but basically, uh, as you guys know, like one of my bail conditions, and people were like, okay, sort of concerned that okay, I made all these like what do you call edgelord comments about running away from national service or whatever. People are generally concerned, like, oh hey, aren't you like violating your bail conditions? But thing is that really the bail condition, the only thing is that okay, I can't directly comment on the condition that I can't make any public comments about my case. So whether or not I got arrested and like, I'm waiting for my sentence for escaping national service, because I went to the US when I should have gone to national service. So right now it's like, okay, yeah. So what I was gonna say. Yeah, so I got arrested for, escaping national service. And, I just like can't comment on, I guess, whether or not I think it's like moral or not, you know. So, which, uh how will people know my opinion? It's quite a mystery. How will people know what I think? I never really indicated what my actual opinion on that is. So very unfortunate. So I think like that kind of condition, it's partly okay, it was placed, and part of the reason why there was such a condition is that okay, especially for like political dissidents, that's sort of like a condition where okay, if they have like such a condition, they want to like err at the side of caution and like just don't say anything period that's like relating to the topic. Cause like the condition is so vague. It's like, okay, I can't comment on okay what I feel about getting arrested for national service, whether I think it's moral or not, whether I think it's fair or not. But okay, can I comment about national service in general? Can I comment about a case related to that, or would that be like an indirect comment? It's extremely vague, and so most people just err the side of caution. And I think that was the reason why they placed that condition on me. Because I'm a public figure, I'm critical of the government. They want me to be silent, and also the fact that people who escape national service, they never ever really had that condition. Although I know technically they could be still charged for it based on like sub judice if you just comment about any ongoing case. But specifically for me, they put that condition, and that may or may not be politically motivated. Who knows? Who knows my opinion on it? So, yes, yes, yes. So, yeah. Uh, so now it's just like, okay, we've been having quite a week where, okay, oh yeah, and also the fact that, uh, yeah, so hey, worst case scenario, Thursday, I might just suddenly get sent to prison and boom, you guys don't see me for a year. So this might be my final words live in public. So goodbye, motherfuckers. Goodbye. No, no. Likely I'll just see you guys next week. So yeah, I think yeah, these live streams they've been fun to make. So I might continue these. I might continue these. Yeah. So quite a lively week. Quite a lively week. Been still, running the Discord server. It's been quite a lively server. We've gotten like about 200 members. It's been quite a lively crowd. A lot of like shit talking, a lot of fun interactions. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I'm happy that there's like a platform where people can. I'm kind of surprised by how many like Singaporeans they're just sort of like shouting the N word, being like edge lords, and just like shouting vulgar shit. It's like that kind of thing is sort of like unheard of back in my day. But I guess that's the kind of people I attract, and that like that's really awesome. That's really awesome. It shows not necessarily like those what they say in particular, but it kind of just shows that okay, they're sort of like having like a rebellious mindset. They're sort of like thinking out of the box. They're sort of like okay, looking at alternative media instead of just mainstream media. And I think that hopefully, if it leads to something good, then it will lead to some. Hopefully it'll lead to some very rebellious and right political opinions, rebellious political opinions, and eventually these will be the people that will public protest and march for me. So fantastic, fantastic. Um, yes, yes, yes. So let's start having Q&A. Let's start having Q&A. Do any of you guys have any questions? Well, I think we'll start having the Q&A right away. Right away. Okay, okay. And I'm just waiting for the questions to roll in. It's like yeah, it's oh, if you look at me, right? I am aware that if you really listen closely, I say like really, really many times. And I think it can get to the point where okay, it might be a little bit distracting. So I think that just with more and more practice and more and more experience with live streams, I think that will just like naturally correct itself. Where and here's the thing though, that's how you have to see. You always have to be self-critical of yourself, and so things that are objectively bad, like okay, like me saying like so many times, where the point that it becomes distracting. Okay, that maybe slowly fix, but things that are not really bad, but people just hate you for, like my views on PDF files, or me being critical of the government. Those are things where okay, even if people dislike me for it, you should still stick to your guns. And it's always like okay, you have to discern what is subjective, what is objective, because people can hate you, but it can either be for a valid reason, in which case you should change, you should correct that mistake, or it can just be for something that's just completely nonsensical, like just having different political opinion. In which case, fuck those people. And the mark of a wise person is that they're able to discern what is good and what is bad. So, anyways, questions. Any motherfucking question. Okay, okay. Ah. Amos, I think you should oh yeah, they're asking about whether or not oh my experiences with girls. So hey, interesting story. Interesting story. Basically just experimenting with dating apps. Because here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. I think I just came out of prison. I just spent 5 years in American prison, and I have not had any sexual contact with anyone after that. I think it's already displaying Buddhistic um Buddhistic self-control. Because I think most people, the first thing that they want to do, one of the first few things they want to do once they get out of prison is to fuck. Really, like, especially a lot of like my black prison friends in America. Some of them are even saying, okay, once I get out of prison, and really, once I step into the bus and I'm riding the bus back home, really on the bus, I'm going to start flirting with people. So really, horny MFers. But what do you expect? You're in prison, you haven't like done anything sexual for like 5 years, except if you're gay, in which case, there might be options, though I don't think terribly good options. And so really, it's been a month since I've got out of prison after 5 years. Haven't done anything with a girl. And I experiment with dating apps, and I flirt with some girls. But you know, the thing is that I don't just want to, get somebody that's really easy, or get just some like hooker and gay long. I heard it's like, well, how much is a hooker and gay long? $60, even that? Nah, I don't want to pay for that. But it's like, I don't want it to be easy. Here's the thing about me, okay? I can't just like, okay, if somebody's like ugly, or even if she's like pretty, or like a bad personality, if it's somebody I can't connect with, I can't just like, okay, like close my eyes and just fuck her. I actually tried. I just like can't have like a one night stand or whatever with somebody that I just like can't connect with. And I have to like emotionally connect with that person. I have to, talk to that person a little bit, get to know their personality, their thoughts. And if let's say we connect, maybe like okay, within a few days or whatever, okay, we can get right down to it. But if there isn't that connection, I can't just like close my eyes and just fuck. I'm not like wanna. Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. I can't do that. I can't do that. So yes, yes, yes. More questions. More questions. Uh. Oh, are you stressed or worried about potentially going back to jail? I've basically been going like in and out of prison for like 20 times already. No, no, not 20 times, but like I've been officially charged like 4 times. But if you consider, okay, all the times I broke broke like bail conditions that I can't post on the internet, or broke like parole conditions when I was in the US, once again, with the condition that I can't post the internet, I think I've gone in and out of prison like, man, like 8 or 9 times. It's nothing. It's really nothing to me. I will say, like 95, 99% of prisoners will say that, oh, it's like such a huge deal. I'm like really demoralized and traumatic when I'm gone in prison. To me, it's really nothing, especially when it's really all the times I've gone to prison is essentially for activistic purposes. It's as a political activist, where essentially me going to prison, I feel is not only a very moral thing to do, it really might be necessary to create long term permanent change in Singapore. And so I just treat it like a business trip. It's just something I have to do to raise awareness. And the act of going to prison and voluntarily suffering really like creates like an expression of determination that really changes people's hearts and minds in a way that can't be changed. People wouldn't care about politics, but once they see, oh, that guy went to prison. Holy shit. What do you do that for? Then they start turning their heads. So, holy fuck. All right, all right. Okay. Another question, then I'll go on for a little bit. Uh, man. Okay, hold on, hold on. Allah, Allah, Allah. Okay, okay. I think somebody is asking me because maybe you might have seen a little scandal about me on Reddit. So apparently I was like, okay, flirting with this girl, and then you could say I don't even want to say that like I miscalculated. But okay, I was flirting with her, she was flirting with me back. And then it was like, okay, cool, cool. Then suddenly she accused me of sexual harassment. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't get it. And it's like I don't know if it's I at first I thought okay, I like miscalculated, and okay, maybe it's like okay, it was all just during text. And then okay, I couldn't like read her body language or whatever. She emailed me as like this very enthusiastic fan. She said, okay, she really loved my videos. Oh, she had like AI tried to like recreate my voice when I was in prison, and like she even like printed out a script of one of my videos and like highlighted it and underlined it. And I'm like, okay, cool, cool, that's cool, that's cool. And then, okay, she seemed pretty pretty. I video chatted with her before, and no, we seemed like we had like some kind of like banter. And she like was saying flirty things to me. I was flirting. I was saying flirty things. I was saying flirty things to her. And suddenly she accused me of sexual harassment. I'm like, what the fuck? It just came out of nowhere. Very strange. And if you look at the messages that are leaked, literally nothing really shows that okay, I coerced her or manipulated her. In fact, it showed that okay, she flirted with me, I flirted with her. So what the fuck? And here's the thing, okay? There are sort of like girls like that where okay, I get like okay, a lot of the feminist and woke movement, even though I consider myself a feminist, I know that okay, there are a lot of like SJW type people who are like really extreme and okay, even like any flirty things or okay, any flirty things, like they say that oh, it's like sexual harassment and it's like just going too far. And so a lot of like women, they're sort of like being way more offended about things that they shouldn't be offended. So I don't really think I did anything wrong. And although there are sort of girls who are like, okay, there are girls like this which like you know, overreact about people who overreact about some kind of like flirty comment. Do not take this as an excuse or evidence that oh, all girls are bad and they are SLUTSs. I spelled it correctly. SLUTSs, and okay, we should never ever date any girl any longer, or like, oh, they're all like just gold diggers or whatever. There are plenty of great, amazing, wonderful girls out there, and you just gotta work on your personality. Don't be afraid to continue like experimenting, experiment with dating apps, experiment with I don't know, whatever social scenes or whatever that like is conducive to helping you get dates. And sure enough, I think that you'll find the person that you love and will meant to be and will be with you for the rest of your life. I think that really having a girlfriend, somebody that you truly connect with, that you truly bond on a very deep personal level, it's not only provides you a source of love and consistent comfort, uh, it will also provide you, it's kind of like a reward for all the good things that you've done. It's really just a celebration that, okay, you know your priorities, both as a person and for what you truly value. And so you found this person that really exemplifies that. And really somebody that you love, not just a girlfriend, a partner, but just great friends in general. They will push you into new heights and fuller potential that you otherwise wouldn't have ever dreamed of. So I'm very excited. Hopefully, I get more and more good friends, more and more a good girlfriend or boyfriend because I'm bisexual, and we will start ruling the world. Actually, we'll just rule Singapore. That's good enough. Okay, so I am going to talk for a little bit. Okay. So now the thing about, so this is what I realized about myself. Okay, I do not like just talking about Singapore politics. If I just had to talk about Singapore politics in sort of a standard political way, like, okay, just, standard political commentator, they just go through all the political issues that are popular at the time and they just make comments about them. I'll be bored to tears. I'll be absolutely bored to tears. I think that's the reason why temporarily, 10 years ago, I said, okay, this is not a good full time job for me because it's just way too boring. But yeah, because just like it's way too boring. But here's the thing. Luckily, I sort of figured out a way where I can talk about that stuff, but I can also talk about more stuff, and it will all be related, and it'll still be connected, and I can still maintain probably the exact same target audience and the exact same impact, but I won't be like bored to death. So, in addition to talking about Singapore political issues, I'm going to talk about activism, the ways how to be an effective activist. Which, yeah, a lot of people they just talk about political issues, but they don't really give concrete reasons and strategy on how to conduct effective political activism. And obviously, my the two words that I always stress about effective political activism is political protest. We have to do it to create long-term political change. We have to get we have to free ourselves from the fear of going to prison and we have to free ourselves from the fear of going to prison. We have to publicly protest in the tens of thousands, and that's the only way where we can create enough political change to topple the PAP dictatorship. And we are also going to incorporate a lot of self-help religious advice. Basically, I'm following the exact same example of Gandhi. Gandhi is the greatest political activist in history. And so it's really easy. If you want to be a great political activist, just study what the greatest political activist in history has done, which is Gandhi. And Gandhi, yeah, he did all three things excellently. He talked about political issues. He talked about political activism and how to conduct it well. He orchestrated like some of the greatest political protests in history, of course. And he also much of his writings are self-help stuff, spiritual stuff. Uh, and so I basically, while I was in prison, read, man, I think I read something like 12 books on Gandhi, each of them like 300-400 pages. Really analyzed his philosophy, and I don't agree with him fully. And really, by the way, even with me, you guys shouldn't believe in 100% of what I say because I'm almost certainly going to get something wrong, especially since I talk about many different topics across like many different issues across many different topics. So you should pick and choose whatever you should be a critical thinker and pick and choose what you think is right or wrong and then try to incorporate whatever you think is right into your own life. But yeah, there's some stuff Gandhi says about like he's very very restrictive about sex. I think it's just because he had like a traumatic incident where he was tending to his dying dad, and then he sort of like got distracted a bit, so he took a break and like had sex with his wife, and then when he came back, his dad died. It's not really his fault that he left. That's why his dad died. Just a coincidence that he died. But I think because of that, he became like it like left a lot of trauma in him, where he soon had this philosophy that I will never have sex ever. So starting at age 40 years old, he just never ever had sex. I don't think you need to take that so far. I don't think you need to take that so far. Sex is really great. It's really a deep spiritual experience if you do it with somebody that you truly love. So I'm all for selfless sex, not the extremely, oh, I'm just fucking the person just for fun kind of sex. That's just really, that's just really empty and hollow. But it's sort of a selfless, I love you, you love me kind of sex. Yes. And so yeah, Gandhi. Absolutely excellent. I try to emulate him. I'm basically trying to be the Chinese Gandhi. And I'm also 5 foot. I'm 5'6". I think he's 5'4". So yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I'll talk a few more minutes and then we will have questions. So, as I stress, 3 things: Singapore politics, self-help advice, and activism. The opposition has not done any of those 3 things well. I don't even, yeah, they've not even done one of, you could say the closest that thing that they've done well is perhaps like Singapore politics, but even then, they're not really convincing and conveying what their policies are, what they really stand for, debating in a public setting. Up until now, still their social media is still extremely lackluster. Where we only have 10 days to run for elections because that's how the government wants to do it, so that the opposition won't have as much spotlight. So it's far more important that during the times in between, you promote yourself, you update your social media, you advocate effectively on the ground, but they're still extremely lackluster about that. And you guys need to understand that charisma, speaking abilities, how to convince people and relate to people, all of these are learnable skills. It's not like, oh, okay, oh, that's just this guy's just charismatic. This guy is just loving, and he's just naturally like that. No, you need to really practice it before you can be like that. And so, really, even if you're the most unlikable, uncharismatic person in the world, you read a great book on it, you actually take some steps to improve your charisma, then you can be charismatic. But these opposition members, they work like 30, 40 years, and they still haven't figured that out. So, what the fuck is this? It just goes to show that, if they're fucking up, they don't really try to contemplate, oh, why am I fucking up? And then they try to find a solution to it with like books or like with, asking for different perspectives or whatever. For whatever reason, they're just like stuck in their own bubble, or they aren't like receptive to good advice. Maybe they're, really too defensive when they take criticism. That's why they're not able to get like good feedback. So for whatever reason, they've just been mediocre. And if you think that they will suddenly stop sucking, even though they've been sucking for like 30 years, you guys are being punked. You guys are being punked. So do not give although you should obviously still vote for them because they such. You should obviously still vote for all the opposition parties, even the mosquito parties, because they all suck less than the PAP. But if people think that they'll be effective enough where they'll eventually win a majority of elections and topple the PAP dictatorship, delusional. Absolutely delusional. So, questions. Ask some motherfucking questions. What hobbies do you have besides politics? Jim? What hobbies? As I said, I'm pretty much a nerd. I watch movies, I watch YouTube videos, I watch anime. They played a really, really huge part in my development. I read all nerdy stuff. And also, right now, At night, I just watch a bunch of miscellaneous YouTube videos. Like I got into sports while I was in prison, so I just watch stuff like, oh, okay, NBA highlights, basketball highlights. The thing about sports, right? Think about sports. A lot of people, they're not that interested in sports. Think about sports, really. Greatness is found anywhere, and really, top athlete like a Patrick Mahomes or a LeBron James, they are not only great under pressure, they actually excel under pressure against better teams, against better teams, against larger amounts of stress and pressure. They're even better, which logically you could say doesn't really make much sense because you're facing better people. How are you not lousier? And yet they rise above that. That's incredibly important in life. So when I really look at these top athletes, it is incredibly inspiring. It really inspires you to become like that. Where, okay, it's when thousands of people are hating on me, I'm facing prison. That is ironically where I'm at my best, where I can still be happy, where I can still create content, where I can still keep even keeled. I don't know if that's an actual phrase. Keep mentally stable and just execute to my fullest potential. So yeah, a bunch of like miscellaneous sports stuff. Recently, I've been like, because I've been locked up for so long, every day or every other day, I try to go to some new place in Singapore, like a city hall or orchard or Ang Mo Kio, just places, in Singapore that I haven't visited or I visited before 10 years ago, plenty of times, but, just to reconnect and, just get a feel of how Singapore is. And, yeah, that's why I have all this commentary on places where, okay, Orchard really like sucks ass, dull, like really really vacuous, boring buildings. Whereas so yeah. Yeah. Okay. Ah, somebody is asking me about Melissa Chen. If some people who don't know about Melissa Chen, okay? Uh she was somebody, I think she's pretty popular now, where she she was the one that helped me find a lawyer, get a pro bono lawyer so that I could stay in the US and win my political asylum for the US. Really like invaluable help. And I think without her, either I would not have been able to get political asylum or would have been much harder. I mean, I have to stay in immigration prison for even longer. So I really do thank her for that. But once I caught the case in America, and there's all that like PDF file stuff and whatever, then she sort of just flipped. I think even though she knew my opinions on PDF files before she helped me, I don't know if people knew that, but her opinion flipped. And then she was the person who helped me stay in the US. And then suddenly, she was calling for my arrest. And here's a small little tidbit, because I think it's really hard to prosecute me for that kind of case in the US because it's like messages, the offense is disproportionately high. So I think just the police or whatever are reluctant to prosecute people for such cases. But hopefully I'm correct. Hopefully I'm correct about this. But Melissa, I think she had connections to the police, like direct connections. She had connections with powerful people. And I think it's precisely because that 14-year-old went to her. That is the reason why I got arrested. If that 14-year-old hadn't gone to her and Melissa didn't do anything, I don't know if I would have been prosecuted for that in America. So I think partially it's because she was attracting like her much of her fan base is like right wingers. I'm not fully sure like what opinion she's spouting, but yeah, I'm assuming it's probably bad because most of her fan base are right wingers. I think yeah, just for career sakes, that's why she felt the need to like condemn me, even though like a lot of people helped me before, they just kept quiet. They're like, okay, we disagree with him on the PDF file stuff, but maybe he should still stay in America. He shouldn't be deported. I will say though, I don't know if you guys know this, and this sort of ties to my little I guess sort of like reputation of being because before I was generally like a creep, generally a misogynist, said really like sexist stuff to women, and was like genuinely really creepy. Now I don't think I'm creepy anymore. Though you guys be the judge. Okay, where really I would just when women are not comfortable, yet I still sort of like try to keep on like flirting with them. That just really makes girls uncomfortable. So I don't know if you know this, but so I was talking to while I was in immigration prison, I was talking to Melissa on the phone. And yeah, we were bantering and all that. She was helping me post my Facebook stuff, and it seemed like we have a rapport or whatever. Then I basically just started having like a crush on her. Horny 17-year-old. And then I basically just sort of like made these comments like, oh yeah, you look pretty, really pretty. I'm really excited to see you when you're outside. Just sort of like, I think not really directly flirty comments, but just sort of very creepy. Um, and she pretty much, I'm pretty sure she felt it, that like kind of creepiness. And I'm just like, oh, I'm when she called, like instead of just saying hi, I'd be like, oh, I'm so really happy to see you, whatever, whatever. And just said really like creepy, uncomfortable shit. And so and so after that, after saying that, and also the fact that okay, a lot of the times I wanted her to post Facebook I forgot what those Facebook posts are, but I'm sort of like, okay, I wanted her to post Facebook comments that she disagreed with. I think just both politically or just because it seems really mean spirited. And I would just like be very, very demanding and authoritative. And it was just like I should have done that. It should have just been more collaborative. I should have been, at compromise a little bit. But basically, it was like the misogynistic comments and the sort of like authoritarianism controlling, way that I spoke to her. So after a month of talking almost every day, suddenly I tried calling her. She didn't answer. I tried calling like 5+ times. She just didn't answer. And eventually, like after a few days, I just gave up. Like a few months later, after I won my court case in immigration prison, I think she messaged one friend and said, "Oh, hey, get Amos to call me." And okay, so then I called her. I was like, "Oh," and Melissa, I think she was just like catching up, and she wanted to say, okay, how happy she was that I got my asylum, whatever. And I was still like, "Oh, Melissa, I'm so happy I see you." Just giving like very creepy, like fucking like horny ass vibes. I think she got that vibe. And so the next time I tried to call her, she didn't respond. So basically, a mix of like being controlling and being misogynistic. I think it creeped her out. And frankly, I think I underestimate, especially since women are a discriminated minority and they face a lot of like catcalling, and especially like pretty women, they face a lot of like catcalling and kind of insensitive, horny comments with men all day that really are unwarranted and are really like sexist and misogynistic. And guys, you really shouldn't like do that to women because it's just unwarranted. Makes them feel like very like in fear and in danger. I really do think if I didn't treat her in that way, uh, she wouldn't have that animosity towards me, and she wouldn't eventually have reported me to the police. So yes, I think ironically, a lot of her supporters now are the right wing, like misogynistic community. Where I think she made this comment like, "Oh, okay," saying that people who say that masculinity is toxic. Oh, that's just a radical feminist. But no, I was literally displaying toxic masculinity. That's what a lot of feminists are criticizing. Maybe they go too far with it, but there you go. Toxic masculinity. That and it's ironic that okay, the thing that she's now criticizing, the people that she's now criticizing that actually bring up some good points about okay, toxic masculinity. Now she's criticizing when she was a victim of it. So more questions, more questions. Uh, why do you choose to seek asylum in the US instead of other countries? Yeah, I think if I had if let's say I wanted to get asylum again, which by the way, I think even right now, if I had the choice to just run away and get asylum to another country, I think I might really have the choice if I finish my prison sentence and once I get back my passport, I could go like get political asylum in like the UK or Taiwan or whatever. But even if I had the choice, I won't do it. If I just cared about myself and my own well being, I would do it. But I think that my fullest potential is in Singapore. And I'm really going to sacrifice my life, go to prison, protest, go to prison a million times for the benefit of all Singaporeans. And I make it seem like that's okay, sacrificing my life. But I really feel that everybody is connected. Their suffering is my suffering. And reducing their suffering, reducing other people's suffering, reduces my own suffering. And so, if I can contribute the most in Singapore, I will. And I think the largest contribution I can make is being a political activist in Singapore. And so, even if I had the option, I am going to stay to the chagrin of Shanmugam and the PAP dictatorship. Mhm. But, anyways, if I had the choice again to get political asylum, I probably would choose somewhere with universal healthcare, somewhere with just like better, nicer people, like a Scandinavian country or even Canada, which is better than America in every conceivable way. And they have universal healthcare. And they have just like happier people in general. Why didn't I just go to Canada? They also they still speak English. And really they still speak English. Their culture is very similar. I think the reason why I chose America is that really at that time I really didn't know okay what are the best countries, how to even like quantify the best country. I don't even think my political opinions were really set on it. I think there was a while where I thought okay taxation was theft, capitalism is good. Those are all bullshit. Um, and so I think America is just because I was the most familiar with it because a lot of the content that I consumed growing up was American. Though of course even though it's content made by Americans, it doesn't represent the American experience. And even looking back, the people who were American that I followed, like you go, okay, like Paul Thomas Anderson, an amazing atheist, Richard Linklater, Quentin Tarantino, those are independent filmmakers. Those are sort of making films outside the norm, outside the studio system. So in a lot of ways, they are anti-American. And so really, I just thought, nah, would not have chosen would not choose America again if I had the choice. It sucks that I can't really like go back to America because I got deported. I can't go back forever unless they change the laws. Because I think I would like to check some, visit some people, visit some places. But whatever. Here's the thing. I think if you're like a young age, you want to travel the world, explore new places and whatever. Uh, but I think I meditated to the point where okay, really trying to find different places is just sort of trying to find yourself and trying to find excitement and meaning. But what if you can just find all that excitement and meaning internally? And really, just by meditating and fulfilling my purpose in life, that is enough. That's more than enough. If I'm just stuck in Singapore forever, I'd be completely fine. Hell, if I were stuck in solitary confinement, if I were stuck in prison forever, I'll be absolutely blissful. Because happiness is not from external things, happiness is from within. One more question, and then I will talk. Okay. Okay, okay. Do you prefer to live in the US or Singapore? The US is better in the US is better than Singapore in every conceivable way. The people are nicer, the people are freer, the environment is just much more livelier, much better vibe. And really, I didn't have experience with this, but like, the schools are better, the work is better, better all around. Although obviously it's not perfect, obviously. And Trump is like slowly, destroying America. But it'll all be fixed once Alexandria Ocasio Cortez wins the presidential elections in a few years, or whatever person the Democratic Party runs. But yeah, just a small hint though. America is better in every conceivable way except for PDF files, especially for people who have committed such crimes. Because they have this thing called do not want to be, if you get my drift. But basically, they have much harsher laws about that there, where you have to be in a registry, your address and everything. You are basically your crime and your address and everything is made public. You have tons of restrictions all throughout your life. Living restrictions, you can't live near a place where children are congregated. Singapore doesn't have that. So if I had the choice, would I go back to this is with the mindset, not with the mindset that I want to protest and fulfill my fullest potential, just for completely selfish reasons. If I had that reputation, would I go back to America or stay in Singapore? Which would I prefer? Hold on. So there you go. Let me talk about something else. And then we will have another round of questions, and then I think we are good. So, okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, I was hanging around like the Discord server, right? There are tons of people. Okay, you get to see like, okay, how people interact, and it's all cool. And I think a lot of people, the people who come to my Discord server, they probably they relate to me in some way. I guess that's why they come and they're interested. And probably a lot of the flaws that I had before, they have now, or maybe to some extent I still have those flaws. But you ever seen like, okay, in my Discord server, and really like a lot of times in the comment section, people go on these 2-3 hour debates where they just keep on arguing with each other. And it's like, what? And then it's like fucking like 300 comments long. And it's like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, what, do you think that you're gonna change the other person's mind? And not only that, it's in like a comment section, so not really many people are listening or really bother to listen. Why do you think it's justified to just spend that much time? You're not gonna convince anybody. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe a potential benefit is that, it increases your debating abilities. But this is the worst platform to do that. Why not you debate with somebody where you can actually change their minds, And so, yeah, debate with somebody that can change their minds, or debate in actual public forum, so that, okay, more people can see it, and then, okay, it can be footage where you can share around with people. But debating with some rando online where barely anybody is listening, just a complete waste of time. And why I think people do that is sort of a large issue that I had before, where people are too attached to their political opinions. That you get the most annoying fucking people. The most annoying fucking people are people who talk about politics or talk about religion. And I think the reason why they are the most annoying is because there's this sense that religion and politics are the most important issues in this world. And the argument is that, okay, they affect many people, lots of people, they're incredibly important, which is true. Whereas, like, okay, okay, maybe there's some people who get really pissed off, but I don't think people are that pissed off when they debate on sports. Although you can get really heated when you're debating on sports, of course. But here's the thing. I think excellence can be found in every avenue of life. And politics really isn't more important than sports or art or anything, even though it feels more directly important, because excellence and compassion can be felt in anyone, in any avenue. And so, even though it doesn't have a direct impact politically, sports and whatever, it's through those different avenues. That's what makes people okay, excellent and compassionate and great. And that's what leads to change in every avenue. And that's what leads to positive benefits in the entire world. But okay, people are really attached to opinions. And they just have to defend it. You can't just, okay, hear a stupid opinion and just, okay, it's stupid and then let it go. You have to argue with somebody for hours on end. That's just really unhealthy. Really, if you are talking to somebody that you completely disagree with, that you hate, the best thing you can do is just either leave the conversation or listen. Even if you're saying completely stupid fucking shit. Because most of the time, they're not willing to hear your opinion. You're not going to say anything that will change their mind. You have to be naive to think that, okay, people will change their mind after they hear your logical argument. No. Really, if you really want to change your mind, even if you don't change, if you really want to change their mind, and even you shouldn't even have the intention to change anybody's mind. What you should do with somebody that you completely disagree with is just listen. Because they're really passionate about their opinions. Most of the time, they probably don't have anybody who is willing to listen to them. You provide an avenue for them to share their opinion is an act of love. And that will spark a sense of love and truth and belonging that they haven't felt in a very long time. And that will, in a way, sort of get them closer to the truth. And also the fact that just being, you can't change their mind. So you should instead just try to understand them. Understand what makes them click, their opinion. And then really maybe, okay, secretly, personally, you decide, okay, does their opinion have any weight to it? Or, okay, they sort of like make me a little bit flustered when they share their opinion. I don't know how to debunk it. How will I debunk it if somebody else shares that opinion? If you keep on interjecting your arrogant opinion in the middle, you won't be able to understand more. You won't be able to listen more. And that's just a lost opportunity. So, yeah, for people you disagree with, I think it's much better to listen, to hear them out, instead of just like speaking, because you're not going to change their mind. And you should take that opportunity to understand people. Because here's the thing, there's this article written by this guy called Derek Sivers. And he said that Derek Sivers, I think, is a very successful businessman. He made a CD Baby, like I believe it's like a music distribution company back in the 90s. Very successful. Now still living like a very minimalistic Taoist way of life. Very cool. Very inspirational. So he is the smartest person in most rooms or every room that he's been in. Yet he specifically advises people, never act like you're the smartest person in the room. Instead, what you should do is you should act like you're stupid. Anybody says something, and you have a question, you ask it. You don't, okay, try to voice your opinion, voice your inspirational opinions, even if people want your inspirational opinions. You just like, say a little bit stuff, mildly profound, whatever. But Unless people really seriously want it and then they're ready for it. And okay, maybe share your opinion. But most of the time, you should act a little, really like purposely act stupid. Where you're like asking questions a little bit blur, like, huh, what is this? What is that? And then people will continue sharing their information. And so here's the thing. You got tons of smart people in this room. And even if you're the smartest, if you don't speak, you instead act stupid and listen, your store of knowledge increases even more. And you just continue getting smarter. Because here's the thing. No, most of the time, people don't want to listen to what you say. Even if you have the most profound, great advice in the world, a lot of times people might not necessarily want to listen to you. But if you listen to them, everybody likes being listened to. Everybody, if you ask them questions, ask them about their life, everybody likes talking about themselves. So stop speaking, speak less, listen more. That is the trick for people to universally like you, and you improve your understanding of other people and your knowledge. Yes, see, yes, see. So, questions. Let's have a few more questions. Then I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. We can end right here. We can end right here. Fantastic. So, ask some questions. I'll speak a bit more before the questions comes back in. So, uh, okay. Now, yes, yes, yes. I hope you guys drink a lot of water. Are there any people here who don't like drinking water? You know, with me, I just like really spontaneously drink water all the time. I don't know, like, oh, what, some people just forget to drink water. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyways. Okay. Let me see. Questions, motherfuckers. Questions. Okay. I think somebody is asking about what my views on Christianity are. You know me. Before, I was quite against Christianity. I was like ripping pages from the Bible. I was like licking the cross to sort of like make fun of Christians who, yeah. I was ripping pages from the Bible, licking the cross, making fun of people who just like was just like blindly following the works of Jesus and Christianity. And really, a lot of the institutions are very subpar. A lot of churches and sermons, they're boring as shit. But if you just treat Christianity as the teachings of the founder, Jesus Christ, absolutely beautiful religion. I feel that it's such a pity that a lot of the churches right now, I think, do not do Jesus justice. It's really upsetting. How do you make somebody who literally like is bleeding to death on a cross for 3 hours? How do you make that boring? It's terrible. But really, the central teaching of Christianity is, of course, loving your enemy. My favorite verse by Jesus. Whatsoever you did to the least of my brothers and sisters, you did to me. Because here's the thing. It's very easy to love somebody that loves you back. Your family member, your girlfriend. Very easy. But what if somebody hates you? What if somebody even wishes that you die? That is a true testament to how loving you are. And the love is not obviously a romantic love, a sexual love. Love just basically means a mutual respect for your companion. Where, okay, even though you are wishing harm to me, I still love you and I don't want harm to come towards you. And really, I do not wish revenge or hurt against you. And this applies to, okay, Lawrence Wong and the PAP dictatorship, Shamugam, or anybody that genuinely wishes harm on me and who have imprisoned me. But it's really that your act of vengeance and your destructive act towards me in the long term will bring you suffering. Because God will punish you for it. And this hatred and evilness will bubble up into just bad qualities that will lead to you mistreating people, lead to destructive relationships to your loved ones. I think that's very important. It really shows how loving you are if you love your enemies. And also realize that no matter how bad somebody is, if you know the secret past of everyone, you'll not feel hatred towards anyone. Because no matter how unlikable or terrible or sexist somebody is, something led to that in their life. Maybe some kind of traumatic experience, maybe some kind of abuse from their parents or an authority figure that leads them to be that way. And if you just know it, or if you just share it, or if they just share it, you will not feel towards any hate. You will not feel any hate towards your enemies. I think that's important to understand. And so that's why it's very important for especially discriminated minorities who are mistreated unfairly, or even not even objectively people who are discriminated unfairly. Really, a murderer or a rapist, people who are objectively bad. For them to share their stories and for people to be willing to listen. Where you have the temptation, if you see a murderer, to, oh, you should not murder and give your really ignorant advice. No, the best thing you can do is to listen. That will provide compassion to both them and eventually to you. Because how you are being compassionate to yourself leads to you being compassionate to others, and you being compassionate to others leads you to being compassionate to yourself. So, not the best grammar, but there you go. Okay. Let's see. Uh let's see. Ah, okay. Somebody's talking to me. Okay, somebody is asking me about drug legalization because I was complaining about a lot of like K2 in American prisons. You guys don't know, in American prisons, there was this drug called K2. It's basically just a liquid. And so a lot of people they sneak the drug in by just spraying this liquid onto letters or like legal work, and then they're sent in. Especially legal work. I don't think a lot of prisons, okay, they have to send the legal work to the inmates. Otherwise it's illegal. They can't like stop legal work. And so although I think right now they're swapping all the paper stuff to just tablets, so they'll be less likely to get the K2. But you just spray that, like, okay, you can buy that K2 for $100 outside of prison. You spray it, you sell it in prison, a little piece that you can smoke with like little pens and they have like a little lighter or whatever, a little piece like that lasts an hour, they can sell it for $6. So if you like, okay, buy it for $100 outside and you sell it for okay, you buy it $100 of that outside, you can sell it for $1,000 in prison. So of course, a lot of people try to sell it. And of course, a lot of people like, get high. A lot of them are like smoking and then, like falling to the ground, like vomiting on themselves. And a lot of times when these people vomit on themselves, I tell the police because I'm like, dude, you can like actually choke on your vomit. But then, okay, if I tell the police, a lot of the gangsters, they're like upset with me because I told the police, then okay, that person will get punished or might get punished because they'll have to be investigated for drug stuff and whatever. And you see, like gang culture is like okay, they want to keep everything quiet. They want to deal with everything themselves. Absolutely fucking stupid. Yeah. So I just did a responsible thing, and I told the police. But anyways, what are my views on legalizing drugs? So here's the thing, okay? It's not good to take drugs. Except maybe some of the drugs that have medicinal purposes, like marijuana. Which even then, I don't think long term that's a good solution. Really, there's no other option. And okay, instead of wanting to, I would recommend meditation. But of course, it takes a while to get like an effect with meditation. Although I think that's the most efficient way to heal whatever mental issues you have. But even marijuana, okay, if let's say okay, taking marijuana, it really like makes you functional and reduces your mental stress temporarily, then yeah, for specific cases, I think it's good. Like marijuana, psychedelics, those can be beneficial for certain cases. But even the objectively bad drugs like coke, heroin, just short term relief and then fucks up your health for the long term. I think that all drugs should be legal, even though you shouldn't do most of them, with the caveat that all the money that's spent on drug enforcement, which is billions, depending on the country, all the money that's spent on drug enforcement be spent on drug rehabilitation. That is exactly what I believe Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, did. And that significantly reduced the drug crime and, healing from drugs. America doesn't do that. America, I think if they were really concerned about drug treatment, they wouldn't spend so little on drug rehabilitation and spend so much on enforcing drug laws. And really, they also target like uh you know um black black places, people, black places where there are more black people. Really, drug law is essentially just an excuse to enforce racism. The police target places with there that where there are okay more black people, even though okay there are like places where white people are using drugs. A lot of them they okay don't treat it as much of a priority. Instead, they just target black majority places. So really, the whole drug laws in America is just an excuse for racism. Okay. Do school grades matter? Here's the thing about school. Okay, obviously, I think everybody they should drop out of school. But okay, if that seems like okay, too extreme of an opinion, then they should quickly learn a skill in their spare time that will hopefully be give them the confidence or make them even like financially independent so that they don't rely on school. Because really, 90 to 95% of the stuff you learn in school is really useless. You really should you really only want school. You really only want You're really only going to school because you want a degree. And then even that, a lot of degrees are completely fucking useless. Art degrees and philosophy degrees especially don't even help you get a job. People who get those degrees are completely fucking stupid. My point is, it is true that people who go to school, there's a higher chance that they will succeed in life. But it's really not school that makes them succeed. These are the words of Malcolm Gladwell, who I think really researched schools and the common trends that comes about from that. But really, okay, if you are able to get into university, it shows that you have values. You are hardworking. You, you're intelligent. You have virtues that lets you be like, okay, in the top 10, 20% of the country academically, that lets you get into university. But there's really no evidence that, okay, if let's say you didn't go to school, you didn't go to university, and with those exact same values, you spent it on, say, okay, starting your own business, or really just learning the skills yourself, whatever, skills you have, like art or, coding or whatever. You can learn all those skills yourself and then interview for a job. There's really no evidence that, okay, school would be better than that. Matter of fact, I think everything shows that. I think that, okay, instead of spending like 4 years in college and all those years in primary and secondary school, if those same people who are as intelligent and as smart spent all that time just self studying and not wasting all that time learning 90 to 95% of the useless curriculum, which are boring, they're not interesting, and a lot of them is just like outdated. They're just like does not have any practical use. It's just like theory that is unusable. They will succeed even more. They will find a job that will make them happier. It is true that with a degree compared to somebody who doesn't have a degree, you have more job opportunities. But the more job opportunities, those are jobs that fucking suck. Because really, if somebody was really good, a good boss, a good company, they would not give two shits if you have a degree. They will want to see, okay, are you intelligent? Are you able to adapt? What actual skills you have? And so, really, the people who judge you based solely or mostly on a degree, I doubt their judgment, both in terms of examining talent and in operating their company. Because there have been plenty of examples where people don't have degrees at all, and yet they ace the interview and they're working for Apple or Google or whatever. And so, if be happy that you're not getting those jobs that focuses on a degree, because those jobs probably success. Somebody is asking me, why do I like to go to prison so much? It's not that I like to go to prison. I want to make this very clear. It's part of the job. The act of going to prison, of voluntarily suffering, historically has shown to change people's hearts and minds in a way that nothing else will. People who don't care about politics, you publicly protest, you go to prison because you start criticizing government, then it starts catching their attention. And then they start acting. That is the turning point when people are willing to go to prison for their political cause. And it's precisely why the opposition, activists, and politicians, the politicians, it might be strategic for them to stay out of prison, but it's precisely why opposition activists in Singapore, they don't go to prison. That's why we don't have a public movement, and that's why there hasn't been much political change in Singapore. And so I just treat it like as an obligation. If I want to fulfill my highest, if I want to fulfill my highest potential, if I want to create long-standing political change, I have to do it. It's part of the job. Obviously, I don't want to go to prison. Obviously, I prefer to stay outside with my phone and whatever. It's just part of the job. You have goals, and you do what is necessary because your goal demands it. Okay. Somebody has asked, yeah, and I was this sort of related to the previous question. Why don't I just actually oh yeah, actually that's pretty much a similar question. I will answer a few more questions and then we are good. Okay, okay. Somebody is asking me to do 6-7. Okay. Thoughts on Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk sucks, but obviously he doesn't deserve to be killed, obviously, which sucks, right? Because okay, if he wasn't killed, then okay, he'd just be like a right wing piece of shit, sharing like racist opinions and whatever. But okay, now that he got killed, it's really great for his movement because people are starting to feel sorry for him now. Yeah, but yeah, he shouldn't be killed, obviously. Did I talk to any notorious criminals while in American prison? Not anybody famous. Not anybody famous. Though my interactions with, I'll talk a little bit about my interactions with other criminals. Being a, uh, you know, CSP and being openly bisexual. Funny thing is, okay, if people don't know my background, don't know I'm bisexual or my case or whatever, everybody likes me. Everybody thinks I'm funny. Everybody wants to talk to me, ask me about Singapore or whatever. Even though we don't have really much of anything in common, they have like very different values. They want to talk about fucking girls, fucking bitches. They want to talk about making money. Even still, can just crack some jokes about they treat me like, oh, so awkward. He doesn't want to is an Asian's pussy a triangular? Because I think there's this stereotype that okay, we got, you know, uh, they said what like our Asian's pussy is V shape, which I don't know. I don't know if you know this. I don't know. Is the light changing? Okay, I don't know if you know this. I've never had Asian pussy before, so I don't know. Though this is just from the words from my friend who has looked at Asian porn before. But basically, no, the Asian pussy is not V shaped. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong. But this stereotype just comes from the fact that okay, there's a stereotype that okay, Asians have a squinty eyes, and so because we have squinty eyes, then okay, the vagina is V shaped. I think that's where it's from. So there you go. So cracking jokes and shit like that. But yeah, once they find out about okay that I am my case and like I'm bisexual whatever, then they avoid me like the plague. But luckily, with every place that I go to, I'll be able to make at least like one or two close friends, and those are more than enough. Which sucks because I think yeah, as I said, a lot of people who are gay or they've got like a certain similar case, a lot of them are just isolated in their rooms. They don't talk to anybody. But I still make it a point to okay, try to go out, maybe start up some chess games. Even if like nobody's talking to me, I'm just in the day room, just like in the public site, just chilling. Because eventually somebody will might like come up to you for a conversation or whatever. That's how you make friends. Okay, okay. Final question. Final question. Okay. Well, somebody asked me like, "Oh, was I gonna give a speech in Harvard?" I really wasn't gonna give. I really wasn't gonna like talk for like 30 or 40 minutes straight. It really, it doesn't make sense to me. I go all the way to this place with unique people, and yet I just do like a 40-minute speech that I could have just done in my own room. I could just like pre-recorded it. So that Harvard speech that because of my views on PDF files was canceled. I actually prepared. Maybe I talk a little bit, but mostly for it to be a Q&A. So that if it's a Q&A, I can go anywhere. And because everywhere has a different group of people, then it's like, you know, I get like a different, I feel the vibe. It's like every interaction is unique. And yeah, if you go to different places, every interaction should be unique, right? Because it's all different kinds of people. So I think a Q&A makes more sense. And that's what I wanted to do, but they canceled it. But so yeah, somebody is asking me like, how do I manage to deal with prison for such a long time? Because I spent like 5 years of American prison. Really, I think nobody's gonna talk like me. I think 95 or 99% of prisoners will say that okay, prisoner is really bad. They'll keep on complaining about it. They'll think it's just an absolutely miserable experience. If you think like that, that's when prison becomes miserable. Never ever complain about things that you can't change. So stop complaining about the food. Stop complaining about how you want to see your family. It's useless because you can't change it. So why do you keep on complaining about things that you can't do anything about? It's just unnecessary stress and agony. What you should do is just focus on the things that you can control. Know that for whatever reason, God thinks that this place is the best for you at the moment. And so make use of your limitations and do the best you can. So yeah, there's no Facebook, there's no basketball, or you can't talk to your friend. There might be a chess set. Might be some books. There's still a few cellmates to talk to. Make the best use of it. Try to be the best chess player you can be. Try to be the best conversationalist you can be. Spend all the time that you are completely alone to meditate, to think, to do things that you could not have done outside when you were busy. Control the things that you can control. Fulfill your fullest potential within those limitations. Then you find purpose. I'll share a story, okay? This was worse than American prison or Singapore prison, where, okay, in American prison, where when you had to, after you get your sentence, you move from jail to prison. But in between that, they put you in this place. It's called NRC in America, where it's like, okay, a transition phase where they decide, okay, what prison they want to put you in. But they put you in this prison where you have to basically stay for a few weeks before they transfer you to the prison that you're going to serve your sentence. And this cell, there's nothing. It's worse than Singapore prison. There's no books. You have no time to go outside. It's basically sometimes you have one cellmate, but the time that I was there, I was completely alone and had absolutely nothing. No books, no phone, absolutely nothing. I was there for 2 months. Can you imagine that? Absolutely nothing. You only get 3 meals a day sent in. That's it. What did I do? I thought and I meditated. Basically, I was a monk for 2 months. I thought about life. I meditated. It's the rain meditation where I go deep into my feelings, my trauma, where I open myself up to my pain so I can better understand it and heal from it. Memories started flashing in my head. Childhood, like events that happened, things that, okay, I forgot about. Memories started like emerging. Traumatic events about, okay, things that people said. Few times I was like uh bullied in school, insulted by people, all the hate comments, very abusive things like what my dad said, what my mom said. All those memories just like started flashing, things that I forgot, where I didn't like process it before and now I did. And the things that, okay, if you don't ever process, you don't ever give your time to feel the pain and process traumatic events in your life, they're silently affecting you, even to the present. And that's what leads to abusive behavior where, okay, somebody says something and you lash out at them when they didn't really say anything too insulting. Antisocial negative behavior comes from that. until you process that trauma. I spent 2 months understanding my vulnerabilities, my trauma, realized just how deep my pain was. I was so consumed, so overwhelmed by how deep the pain I experienced was from all my past experiences, from going to prison a million times, from being hated so much. I was overwhelmed by how big it was. I just kept meditating and I was just like overwhelmed with pain until eventually, after meditating for literally like 6 to 8 hours a day for like 2 months, I suddenly had a vision. And it was Gandhi and Jesus and Muhammad, many prophets that I read about. And then Gandhi was in the middle. And then he said, I will always be with you. And suddenly that vision zoomed out. They were on a mountain. And it's like I saw thousands of religious figures just flashing before my eye, all in a straight line. And I felt a tremendous sense of peace. I cannot tell you how healing that entire experience was. And even eventually, when I was let out, I sort of like missed that spot of being like trapped for 2 months without doing anything. I sort of like missed like, oh wow, I wish that could continue even longer. I don't think I really meant that, but a little bit. I was like, oh hey, I wish that continued longer because how much trauma I processed, all the pain that I healed, that I let myself feel. It was truly a transformative experience. And after that, I felt genuinely that I was freed from the fear of death. And that no matter what happens, prison, hate, whatever, I can deal with it. I genuinely felt invincible after that experience. And so, really, it doesn't matter if the Singapore government puts me into 5, 10, 15, 20 years of prison. If I have to do it, I will. If I need that to stroke the public's mind towards my political cause, to get free healthcare, free food for people, to eliminate discrimination against Malays and Indians, to get freedom of speech, freedom of expression, to remove national service, I will do it. And there'll be absolutely no fear. And I will be able to meet that goal because I'm mentally able to. That is power. So that's it. Do you guys enjoy this? I'm really happy that you guys watched this. Thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully, I'm not arrested on Thursday. If not, maybe I can do a live stream afterwards next week or the week after that. Do you guys enjoy it? Very happy to talk to all of you. Take care. Bye-bye.